Good morning, viewers, and welcome to another broadcast of The Competitive Edge. And as promised, on Friday and Saturday, we have a new addition to our community. And that new addition is no other than Shivani. Now, Shivani, she's out of Trinidad. And I was truly impressed with Shivani by just listening to her do that deep dive into project management. Now, the role that Shivani will play on this platform, I believe, is so important because guess what? Project management tools and processes and systems is relevant to every aspect of our lives, every aspect of our lives. So here you have another subject matter expert with us to provide critical information to you to help you to get your competitive edge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask Shivani to give a brief introduction of herself. Paul and Peter needs no introduction. They're the most famous people in the world. So,
Whoa, whoa.
That's easy.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't mind.
How could
so
I do
Shivani,
that with it? That doesn't coincide with what I'm working with.
Mm.
don't worry, you'll get it there. Shivani, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Shivani?
Thanks, Gary. So I hope the next time you introduce me, you'll say that,
You're
I'm
the
like
most
Peter and
famous
Paul,
person
right?
in the
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who am I really? I tell everyone, once there's projects, I'm around. So I believe in the project management framework. Projects will solve everything. Of course, there are many different ways to do it. There are different methodologies, best practices, things that we have learned along the way that I really appreciate to be able to contribute to all these things and how it could really build businesses and really create a competitive edge, as you keep saying, which is so true. Project management is really there to help us to grow and to evolve in business and, as Peter was saying, and also in life. It's a really a concept that could be used to grow both in business and both in life as well. So what do I do? Sum me up in one word: a generalizing. That's two words, right? A generalizing specialist. I believe that you must be able to understand one main subject matter and understand it very, very, very well. I don't only mean understand, really know it inside out, that anyone could ask you anything. And then you must understand many different fields. So that's why, what field do I really know? Well, I hope at the end you'll realize, the audio, you and your audience and everybody will understand that you'll see me as a project management. I don't like to use the word subject matter, right? I don't like to use the word SME and an expert, because I found personally, when persons say that they're an expert, they feel they don't have to learn anything again.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
know everything in the world because in that particular field. And that's where I believe failure really happens, when you believe you know every single thing in your field. So I've changed the word. For me, I'm a practitioner. So
Mm.
when I practice, you realize you have to keep getting better and better at it. You don't know everything. I've evolved in it over the years. Now there's AI, data analytics, knowledge base. So the field is evolving, project management. It's not static. And probably that's why I love it so much, Gary. It's something that it's never static, it's dynamic. You will be placed into a project, you might be doing the same type of project, facilities management, IT, whatever field it is, and something keeps, it's no 2 days are the same. So I love chaos. I believe out of chaos there's
There's
structure,
order.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, um persons might really disagree with me, right? Organized chaos, I call it
Mhm,
organized
mhm,
chaos.
mhm.
So that's who I am. Anywhere there's a project, I want to be in it. So thanks, Gary, and I hope that with your audience and everybody here on your platform, Peter and Paul as well. We really learn from each other because it's all about building community, all about building community.
Awesome. I love what you said, and I do believe that project managers or project management practitioners, I'm going to use your term now, I do believe that they have a special knack for bringing order to chaos.
Mhm.
And let me just share why. Many, many years ago, I studied project management, of which I passed with distinction, top of my class. And one of the things that stood with me from then to now is just looking at what we call the WBS, the work breakdown structure.
Yeah.
And the work breakdown structure, it is so detailed. Every single moving parts of that project is documented. To me, that takes away all of the chaos
Mhm.
because it is documented and skilled personnel are identified and they're delegated out to those persons. That takes away the chaos. And this is why I would always say, Shivani, that when you're in a leadership position, one of the people you need to have by yourself at your side is a project management practitioner
Mhm.
because they are the people that are able to take away the chaos. Because sometimes you go to a meeting and thoughts are going all over. Nobody's documenting anything. But the project management practitioner, they're the people that will be able to listen to those different ideas, bring some perspective to this, and help you to set up timelines, start date, end date, completion criteria, and work that whole process. So I just try to add some thoughts to what I take away when you say, you love working in chaos and bringing order to it. It's a special skill set. And, you know, I hats off to anyone who would have studied project management or a practitioner in project management. I do believe is so, so, so important. All right. So what inspired you, Shivani, to get into project management?
So, as you mentioned too, that every leader must have a project manager around them. If you are the
Mm,
CEO, it's always great to have this particular skill around you, a project manager, because the project manager will be able, you mentioned the word of work breakdown structure. So you see, you know a lot in project management, right? That's the
yeah.
key. That's the key. That's the key to everything. If you have documented your scope, so the project manager is someone who can take chaotic environments and really create structure just by understanding the scope. Just by understanding the scope. Why I love project management and really wanted to get so heavy involved in project management. As we said, it's not a boring field. Something is always going wrong, right? In any type of project. They say you have to be like a magician too. You have to be able
Mhm.
to fix all the problems for everyone. So probably, I mean, I think that's what I really like. I like to say that Gary could say, well, oh, go to Shivani. Shivani knows how to fix it. So project management really, allows individuals to fix issues if done properly with a proper methodology, right? And it really shows someone about you have a challenge, how to solve those challenges. It helps an individual to become more problem solvers, critical thinkers, all those great words. And something that I'm also evolving with project management is the design thinking framework, and how you can get better ideas. Because project management helps people to move from a strategic thinking place or a mindset to more tactical. And that is what leaders need. Even if you don't have that skill as a leader, as a CEO of the organization, as you correctly said, hire a project manager, and the project manager is supposed to be able to do things like that, to be able to take from strat whatever your strategic plan is and then implement it, become more tactical. So a PM is moving an individual from strat thinking to more tactical thinking. Your mindset must be able to do, it must be able to be action oriented. So I first started in tech, right? Technology is my cup of tea, and technology was my first degree and all of that. I graduated with technology programming. And over the years, after doing project management, because to be able to run a project, you need to understand project management. And then after becoming so heavy into projects, into IT projects, that was back then, I wanted to test the theory that if you could manage projects other than your subject matter, because IT was my subject matter. And of course, I could manage IT projects being a project management practitioner. Then I got heavy into facilities management and business development and all these different medical, technical, all different areas. And it's because of project management and understanding that framework, it allows you to understand almost anything, because you have the tools to ask questions. And I believe that is what you really need. You need to be able to ask questions and correct questions to, and to get the answers, to really listen. It teaches you patience, teaches you patience. So I have this joke with my team, well, anyone who work in projects with me. I said, hear this, right? If I am stressed in project management, something is going wrong, right? I don't supposed to be having all these wrinkles and having to go and gray hair and having to go and buy all these products now, right? It's very costly. So let's have out of this chaos some type of structure, some type of structure. So project management does that, does that, does that. Well, I hope I don't really have to use a lot of face cream.
Love that. Love that. And again, one of the things that I learned many years ago while studying project management, it was hard to believe that, but I grew to accept it that there's no perfect plan. No perfect plan. I know sometimes you want perfection in what you're doing,
Yeah.
but you have to be prepared for something to go wrong. The beauty about project management, however, you are trained to anticipate things that can go wrong and prepare for it. And you're also trained to deal with the unexpected. And I think some of the tools that we call some of the tools configuration management. And those tools are used when the project perhaps is going over time, to use configuration management to pull it back on track. Because in most cases, when it goes over time, it goes over budget, and every single thing goes wrong if you don't have the right tools. And project management is a beautiful subject. So there, your audience, we have a subject matter expert. You would have heard her articulate herself around the subject of project management. So this is one of our go-to person when it comes to managing your project. Project management is relevant to, finance, and Paul here is our go-to person when it comes to financial instruments. And he will talk shortly about financial instruments. Project management is relevant to your personal and, family and community and corporate life master plan. So Peter may be the person that's going to tell you this is what you need to have done. But you also have Shivani that's going to come alongside Peter, is going to say, this is how we implement the process. This is how we manage the process so as to ensure that you have control over the goals that you're going after. And Saturday, we talk about managing future expectations. All the goals that you're setting for yourself, they are future expectations. But guess what? If you don't have the right tools, all right, to support you in achieving the future expectation from the get go, the future expectation is on the mind. What we are doing here is bringing the people with the cutting edge knowledge to help you develop and master your cutting edge to win in business and to win in life. So I'm going to ask Peter now to talk to us about his master plan initiative and how it can really help people to get their competitive edge. We are in the month of December, the 4th of December, and in our new month. And it's a year that people, it's a period of the year that people will be spending without planning. And perhaps it is something for us to look at. But all to you, Peter, can you talk to us about the importance of master planning and how it can really help people to find their competitive edge? You're mute, Peter.
All right, there we go. All right, just want to welcome our listening audience, and it's delightful to be a part of a beautiful group of individuals who are focused on impacting our community and to add value to the world in which we are navigating ourselves on a daily basis. And one of the biggest projects that we can ever take on, and I'm so thankful and appreciative of Shivani, um, her take, her presentation, her specialty, because life is one of the biggest projects that can really ever engage. Life. I'm getting up in the morning. How do you make it through today? How do you navigate ourselves through life? It's very important. And as you rightfully said, Gary, that especially at this time of the year, everybody's thinking about what we're going to do in the following year, coming from the old year, going into the new year. What are we going to do? And that in of itself is a major task that most persons do not take the time out to see and to break it down, as you mentioned, the work breakdown structure. What will be the work breakdown structure for 2024? And so, what we want to empower our audience that entering into 2024 doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be stressed, as Shivani says. We don't have to be stressed about it. The challenges that there are where life is concerned, we don't need to be challenged. We do not need to be stressed about it. What we need to do is to have a master plan. And if we begin to look at life as a project, if we look at life as a project, then now we realize that if we begin to break it down, and the life is already broken down into several structures, 4 seasons, 12 months, 52 weeks. And then we can design what we're going to get out of that. So we do empower individuals. There is a simple process, because when you talk about master planning is a vast subject to deal with, to wrap your head around. Master planning, and even just the concept of master planning alone, somebody can get lost, and a lot of people don't do it because it sounds like a lot of work. But then when we begin to realize that this concept can be broken down into simple processes, it makes it much more applicable. So master planning, there's about I would say there's about 4 or 5 areas that we can approach master planning. And the first thing that we need to understand where master planning is concerned is that what is purpose? What is purpose? In anything that we're doing, and where life is concerned overall, where life is concerned, there are 4 dimensions where master planning is concerned. There's basically 4 dimensions to master planning. There is you as an individual. You're a part of a family. That's the second layer, the second dimension. You're a part of a community, which is a third layer, and that's the basic platform. And then the fourth layer will be, now, how do we operate in a corporate platform, in a corporate field, as an individual, as a family, as a community? And when we begin to now look at that, it begins to give some kind of understanding or some kind of approach. All right, so you start with yourself, then you take into your family, and you take into your community. But then now, how do we break that down into another level that is more manageable? So we ask individuals to, as you're dealing with yourself, we have a process that we can use is just 4 S's. We call it the 4 S's of life. So you have the master plan of life, you're going to have the 4 S's of life. And the 4 S's of life is simply substance, systems, structures, strategy. What is your substance? What is your systems? What is your structures? What is your strategy? So you break it down a little bit more. And as you begin to answer those 4 questions, things begin to make a little bit more sense. But then what you want to do now, you want to chronicle. You want to chronicle, you want to write the data that you're going to get as you're asking those questions. You want to chronicle those sets of questions. And so that now becomes what we call a design that we now call the Legacy Chronicles of Life. Right. So let me just repeat. All right. So you or mastering your life as a project, or managing your life as a project, it's going to start wide and you're going to narrow it down. So you're going to start with purpose. You're going to ask yourself to understand purpose. You're going to break down purpose into 4 compartments: substance, system, structures, and strategy. We're going to take those compartments, we're going to break it down into chronicle. You're going to want to chronicle that into what we call a legacy, the legacy of life, because that is whatever information we're having, it is about how you're going to make a legacy, have an impact on your community. And when we begin to understand now the impact that you want to make upon your community, then what formation is applicable? There has to be an application to all that information that we are having. So how are you going to actually demonstrate that now? How are you going to have that impact, that legacy impact? There's another 5 elements that we will present to an individual. All of us here fits in one or some of these processes that we're talking about. So this is the next layer. Break it down. You're going to approach as you try to implement an impact on life. You're going to operate maybe as a consultant. You're going to operate as a coach. You're going to, because you have documented what you have written, you have chronicled what you have written, then now you have become an author. And as you're going to communicate your values, you're going to speak your values, you're now a publisher and a public speaker. All right. So you want to take that even more deeper. Even as you begin to apply, then you're going to focus at least on one of these areas that which you're going to impact your community. But here is where I want to bring it down to the very last portion. Remember, we start wide and we narrow it down to one thing. You're going to ask yourself one important question, one most important question that is going to bring clarity is, who are you? So everything that I just said a while ago, when you can stand before the mirror and you can ask yourself, who are you? And you're willing to face that question and take long enough time to receive the answers, everything that I said before will begin to make sense, will begin to take on a sense of vision, because now you're taking on a leadership, you're taking control, you're becoming the master. And that's the objective. We want to become a master over our own lives, taking responsibility over our own lives so that we can design a master plan for our lives that will advance us going through time, and will impact our community. So it's a broad concept, but when we narrow it down, master life planning, that's a whole lot, but when we break it down, as Shivani says, into smaller parts, and we have a document each of these programs that I just mentioned, we have certain processes that we utilize to ensure that individuals can go through each stage, each dimension, and they can, at the end of the day, they have a practical piece of document that can be even passed down to the next generation.
All right, great share, Peter. Again, as I said, I do value project management so much, and I think it was a privilege to have had the opportunity to study it. It's also a privilege to have Shivani here to, you know, say to you that entire process you have just discussed can be collapsed now into project management.
Mhm.
And project management is what enables you to get accountability for the process even before the process gets started. All right. And that's the beauty about project management. But I love that share. Um, I do believe that the information that is being furnished here today can really help people to find their edge. One of the things that I took away from what Peter said is purpose. You see, in life, you want to know what is purpose, whether you're in business or whether you're living and leading your personal life. Understanding purpose is so important. And one of the things that Peter said, or some of the things that Peter said that was useful, he said, in finding purpose, there's a couple of things that you need to look at. You need to look at substance, because to be a purpose driven person, you want to be full of substance. And to be substance driven means that you have skill sets. Perhaps Shivani purpose is to flow in her substance of project management because that's her substance, that's her expertise. Once you have that based on what I took away from Peter, you can now focus on structures around your substance. You can look at strategies around your giftings, and that whole process can now be systemized. Systemized means that it is repeatable, all right, because you have clearly established systems as to how to follow this process. All right, so it means that in the absence of you, because your process is systemized, the baton can be passed. And you mentioned this also leads all the way up to your legacy life. I
Mhm.
love that. So that's a beautiful um, concept. What I love about this, Peter, these are original thoughts that you would have developed, but above all, it has been tested.
Mhm.
You have been working with many, many persons in the United States of America with your unique systems to help them to bring perspectives to their life, you to help them to find their competitive edge. And that's what I love about what you just said. Now, among everything that we have talked about, whether you're, living a purpose-filled life in business or, in your personal life, access to capital is so important because in the absence of money, in most cases, that vision that you have for yourself is on the mind. All right. So to manage any process, you need human, technical. The three essential resources that you need is human resources, technical resources, and capital resources. And with me here today is one of our financial experts, which is Paul. And Paul, I would love for you to talk to us a little bit about the importance of finance um, to everything that we're talking about, or at least give us an insight into what financial instruments you are dealing with. From there, I will give a brief talk. After you, Paul, I will do a brief talk on what is the minimum viable offer. And you need to understand what is your minimum viable offer. And from there, we will have some open discussion on what each party would have said and really dig in a little deeper from there. Paul, all to you.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Shivani and Peter. It's great, always, as always, great to be here with you guys. And to everybody listening, thank you for joining us. Well, there's a lot to think about. As I said, every time I sit here with everybody on stage, I get inspired. So, master plan, project managing, finance falls under those categories. Your master plan in life, you need it. Your master plan, if you're managing your project, you have to line up your financial resources and then employ them. So, one thing that is often used in projects, but certainly in business to business, not business to consumer, a financial program that we can offer at Patriot Business Finance Consultants would be factoring. It's often, everybody knows about equipment financing, everybody knows about real estate financing, but unless you're in a manufacturing business, or unless you're in the type of business to where you wait 30, 45, 60, 90 days to get paid, maybe you didn't hear about factoring. So here's what it is. Cash flow. If your cash flow is slow, your business will eventually go. You need cash flow. How do you get that? Okay. You're a manufacturer. You are a truck driver. You are in the construction trades. You perform your service or deliver your product, and then you got to deliver an invoice, and you're going to wait 30 days to get paid. Now, does anybody think that they're going to pay you the next day when they can just hold their money? Of course, they're only going to make 0.1% interest, but they'll hold their money in their bank and they'll pay you on the last day. Hopefully, they'll pay you on the 29th day. A lot of times it goes by and they don't pay for 45 days or 60. But you've already spent all the money to manufacture your product or perform your service. You paid the truck to send it to them, and you're waiting for them to pay you. It's your money. Put it into effect right now. How do you do that other than forcing them to pay you immediately, which you can't do? It's a fine line. Do you really want to call one of your excellent customers on day 40 and tell them, I need my money? No, because if they consistently pay on day 40, I guess it just is what it is. You'd rather them pay earlier, but they don't. So there's a fine line there. You don't want to insult a customer. So how does factoring solve that problem? Well, you form a relationship with a factoring company, and that is what we can set up for you. By the way, you don't pay us $1 as the company owner. The factoring company will pay us for creating this arrangement. And once the relationship is established, it takes about a week to go through the process to get established. But you submit you submit the invoice to the factoring company. The factoring company sends it to your customer. Then immediately the following day, 80% of that invoice will be advanced, called the advance. 80% of that invoice will be advanced to you, wired into your business account. That's the operating capital that you need to survive and thrive. If you don't have cash flow, you got problems. And if, as a growing business, you're spending your financial resources, right, on manufacturing, on paying the employees, on shipping it, but you got so many customers, cash flow is starting to go low. Factoring will solve that. 80% you get advanced. Now, the question obviously is, what about the other 20%, Paul? When do I get that? Here's when you get it. When your client eventually pays that invoice. If they pay in 30 days, perfect. If they pay in 60 days or 90 days, and here's something interesting, two things. If the client never pays, that advance that was, fronted to you, basically, it's fronted to you, it's called the advance. You don't have to pay it back. There's recourse and non-recourse factoring. If you go recourse factoring, well, obviously you do have to pay it back. That's the recourse. But if you go non-recourse, and that's what most people do, if your client falls off the map, you don't have to pay the cash back. Nobody wants that to happen, but that's what happens. The factoring company will pursue their money. Okay. But when that invoice gets paid, let's say it's 45 days later, it's going to get paid and funneled through the factoring company. By the way, the factoring companies that I represent, we only represent the ones who've been around the biggest, the best, and the longest. Very secure. One in particular that I like to work with works with a major bank. They're a division of a major bank. Most factoring companies are private money. This one is the division of a large national bank, which gives it a little bit more credibility. All the others, they have credibility too. They've been around. They do what they advertise that they're going to do. But so the 20%, where's that come from? Your customer pays the invoice. It flows through the factoring company. They pay all the invoice. Your factoring company collects the entire bill, and that 80% that they advance to you, of course, they got to take it back. So they get back their initial 80% advance. There's still 20% out there. That 20% will get sent to you minus the fee, because they got to get paid to do it. What is the fee? Well, that depends on volume. If you commit to doing, let's say, $5 or $10 million a year in business with them, the fee will be 1%, right around that area. It's going to be lower. If you commit to doing only $100,000 a year or something like that, a million, 500,000, every factoring company's got their different levels. But if you don't commit to a larger volume, then the fee is going to be more expensive. So let's say you commit to 500,000, you can expect that fee to be probably 3%. So essentially, you're getting 99 cents or 97 cents on the dollar. You're getting cash flow because you need it. And the cost of money, it's a tax write-off. I mean, yeah, it's less money that you're getting, but it's also a write-off, so it's helping you out. And I think that's it. Those are the advantages of factoring. And I
Wow.
believe factoring plays obviously into any business, and that's as a project manager or even as your life plan, as your business plan. That's just one of the tools that you'll be looking at and considering, amongst the others, amongst real estate financing, amongst equipment financing, amongst capital raising. So there we go.
I love that. I love that, Paul. And immediately I see how factoring can tie to the business master plan, because what you have just talked about is it's a serious issue. And when you're in business, one of the things that we are taught is the importance of, 30-day credit, 60-day credit, 90-day credit. And for a small business that is given credit to their vendors, to their consumers, it is hard for many of them to keep the engine of production moving because they give out a large line of credit. And here is where factoring and can come into play, because all the credit that they give out, those invoices can now be subjected to factoring, where they receive those monies and send it out. So factoring and the business master plan ties in here very uniquely. And here is where the one who is working with you on developing the business master plan will be able to show you all of these different tools and processes and systems that you can use to achieve the objective. And the project manager, on the other hand, they say, okay, these are tools and processes and systems. And again, the accountability factor is now is project management. So I see how all of it is ties together. So that was definitely a great share. I want to quickly say something and then I want to open up the floor for everyone to give their views on what was said. You can bring in your expertise on the various topic that was discussed. Uh, we're in the festive season, and everyone today, it's they're focusing on the big bonus and how to make more money for the Christmas holiday and so forth. So I'm going to align my conversation a little bit to that. I want to talk today in brief about what I call 9 steps to win with money. 9 steps to win with money. And one of the first thing that I want to say is that understanding the fundamentals of money is important. You find very often you earn money, you spend money, but do you understand the fundamentals of money and how money works? One of the things that I want to quickly talk about is that in understanding the fundamentals of money, it's important to recognize that money just don't come to you. So one of the things that we talk about is financial targets. All right, you need to know your financial targets. If you don't know it, if you're not clear about it, you're is not where you want to be. Very often, also, what I see happen, you set financial target. For example, for the business, you might say, okay, I want to generate $5 million annually, $10 million annually. Um, is that enough? Is that enough to just say this is what I want to accomplish? The next thing that we talk about here under the fundamentals, what is your cash flow game plan? Because you may be able to set your target that you want to achieve, but do you have a matching game plan to help you move closer towards your financial target? And very often this is what we see. You you set a financial target when you're clear about it, but do you have a game plan? And you find sometimes that the game plan that you have, when you analyze that game plan, the game plan is only designed to get you 50% to your financial target, but you don't know it because you didn't do the analysis. So it's important to understand this. The third concept in the fundamental that I want to look at is what we call um, the market stress test. And when you do the market stress test, here is where you really understand if the market itself has the potential to help you achieve your financial target. Because the stress test is what's going to help you to understand if they're consumers, all right? If there are people that want to use your value offer. And you find very often in a business, you're not doing this, all right? You're not doing this because you're not data driven. Many businesses get started because it's a hunch. I see someone doing this, and this is what I want to do. You don't have the data. The last concept that I want to look at here under the fundamentals is the market viability. Do you really understand your market viability? Again, understanding some of these fundamentals is important. And how do you begin to understand the fundamentals or the viability of your market? Do you know your market size? That's so important because the market size tells you the amount of consumers that you have locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. And if you don't know the market size, you really don't know your market viability. You only have an assumption. Um, and if you want to be guided by data, you need to take the time to understand some of these concepts. It goes much deeper than this, but of course, I just want to be light in some of the subject that we're looking at. The last concept that I want to just expand on here a little bit is what I call another fundamentals, and we call this the fundamentals of mastering your MVO. What is your MVO? Minimum viable offer, most viable offer, maximum viable offer. And let me talk about this. One of the things or the biggest mistakes that we see rising stars in business do, instead of going to market with your minimum viable offer, and the minimum viable offer is the 1 in 10 factors of brand selection. So you identify one thing that you want to go to market with, and you put the human, technical, and capital resources to that. There's a reason why. So you're either going with to the market with the lowest hanging fruit, which we call the minimum viable offer, or you're going to market with what we call the most viable offer. The most viable offer is the same, like the 1 in 10 factors of brand selection. But in this case, you are targeting the high net worth individual, people that can, have more disposable income to pay. Has against going to market with what we call the maximum viable offer. The maximum viable offer means that you're going to market and you are the business consultant, you're the cosmetologist, you're the building contractor. There's nothing wrong in having all of these big vision, but guess what? It takes human resources to move the process forward. It takes technical resources to move the process forward, and it takes capital resources to move the process forward. So if you go into market with the multiple, all of your resources are going to be depleted. And in starting up your business, in scaling up your business in those cases, sometimes you don't have, in most cases, based on our experience, you don't have the human, technical, and capital resources. So when you focus on the minimum viable offer, the most viable offer, and you allocate the limited human, technical, and capital resources that you have to that project, it helps you to achieve so much more. One, it significantly enhances your chance to be successful. It helps you to reduce the stress level because managing one is much easier than managing 10. It brings down your stress level. It gives you a chance to optimize your processes. It gives you a chance to fast track the level of your success. And here is where project management comes into all of this. Again, a project manager going to be able to say, hey, we got three, but we got limited human resources, we got limited technical resources, we got limited capital resources, we got project management don't play, project management gonna tune in, and they're gonna find all the strengths and weaknesses, and they're gonna say, hey, we can't move here, because the beauty about project management gives you that insight of the project before the project gets started. That's what I love about it. You don't make a move unless you subject the entire process to project management. And once your processes are subject to project management, you got a panoramic view, you got a bird's eye view, you got a deep insight into all the moving parts for that project. And I want to come back to say this. I do believe that many projects fail because they do not have a project management expert on their side. I'm going to stop there and I'm going to open up the floor. Shivani, what is your take?
Well, Gary, I think I sitting down here listening, and everything everyone is saying, I could tell anyone, if you have us here, projects will work, right? Projects will work. Projects will work. I already saw that,
I
right?
agree.
Every single thing. I'm here. I normally have coffee at this time in the morning. Look, I didn't even take up the cup because You all were I got energized already. I didn't need to continue. So, like what something that
Okay.
Paul said, in terms of the cash flow. How many of us have seen businesses and you don't have the cash flow? So, I mean, his conversation really enlightened me to understand this thing more, right? So, as a project manager, if you don't have the cash, but you can't, your project wouldn't be able to move. So you need
Yeah.
the cash. A lot of times in businesses, you may have different types of projects that you want to go, you want to go after, which is great. You want to start, you want to do multiple different projects within your business, whatever your field is. But you need to have the cash. So talking to Paul made me really understand more and more the importance of cash flow, and you could get the cash, right? That's what you're saying, Paul. You
Yes.
get the money, right?
Yeah.
Come through. You'll show us how to get the money. And projects are so important. You can't do anything without cash. You can't do it, right? So you need to be able to get the cash to move from project to project within your business. And definitely it is a series of projects, in your business. And that's how I love to look at business. And you have the connection with project management. It's all a series of projects. And I think, Paul, you said that, or Peter, you said that also. In terms of life, it's a series of projects. We're going into the Christmas season. Everybody wants, it's a series of projects, series of projects. So both in life and business, you need your finance. You need money to do what you have. Making money, as you said, and it's a process. You need to make money. What is your process for doing it? What I also wanted to talk about, what you said, was the MVO, the most viable offer. Me in project management will talk about it as the most viable product. Well, of course, your offer, your product, what you need to do. And you are so correct. Projects fail because you want to do every single thing. Let me bring my example in terms of buildings. I'll bring an example like that. So if you are managing multiple buildings, do you have the resources to pump in to do all these buildings? If you have to not maintain it, but to get back these buildings operational, then you may not have. But if you look at one building, you say which is the most viable, which is so very important. If you do not look at what is the most viable, you're going to just be pumping resources and nothing is going to happen. You're going to have 10, 15 buildings and it's not going to be ready because you're trying to do 15 different buildings. You're trying to pump in money into it. You don't have the
With
money.
limited resources.
You have the resources. So it's a very, very good concept, you said, most viable, the most viable offer. And from a project management point, I'll talk about it from the most viable product. And you pump in the resources. And this is where your analysis in business and your cash and your resources comes into play here, as we say. Do you understand what going to make you the most? And just to piggyback into what you just said, in terms of the high network. I'm not going to do something if I'm not going to get the returns, right? So you have to see what will give you the most return. And that is what you're going to be investing in and you're pumping in your money in. And once you do that, you do the analysis before, you talk about your value proposition and things like that before, this project going to work. So, many times I'll get called in to run a particular project and off the bat, this thing is not going to work. This wasn't done before. So you're going to have all these workarounds and then there's chaos. And then depending on the skill of the PM, you could bring it all together. But I mean, what you just said, yeah, if these things happen, you have less stress, right? That's what we all want. But some of us like the stress
Exactly.
type environments.
Exactly.
So
Great point.
a few points, I have so much more as we continue.
Certainly. I love what you're saying there, and again, what I want to quickly say is that stress test. I think sometimes you start a process, but it's not properly stress test. Project management, I know, gives you a lot of tools to stress test viability. When we talk of stress test, also, we are talking about how do you know that your MVO is relevant to the target market. And the MVO, I must say, is a new term that we have coined. If you go to my most recent book, which is Master the Sales Communication Process, you're going to find so much more on the MVO. To get a book, you just need to go to the bestsellerportal.org, find ebooks, and there's a 3 volume of the Master the Sales Communication Process there. But how do we stress test? And I'm going to be quick about this. You want to establish from the get go that your project is relevant to the target market. And Shivani is emphasizing this a lot. Sometimes you put so much into what you're doing, but there's no stress test. So at the end of the day, you put so much of time and talent and resources only to get penny on the dollar. That's not, I'm doing business the smart way. So we want to establish, relevance. You want to know that whatever you're doing, it is going to reach an urgent and immediate need, meaning that people are willing to buy now, not next year, no, because if you wait for them to buy next year, the business is good, it's going to be a sinking ship, and that's not what you want. And most importantly, people may be willing to buy, but guess what? We always look at the ability and the willingness to pay. All right. People may want to rent the most luxurious house, but do they have the ability to pay? So there's so many moving parts when you are positioning yourself to get the competitive edge. And again, what I love about project management, forgive me, I'm going to be talking a lot about it. I'm excited to have Shivani here also, is because I know the tools that is provided in project management. It helps you to anticipate risk. All right, it helps you to anticipate risk, and it ensures that you are prepared to deal with risk that you can see and risk that you cannot see. And I do believe that this is a major, major missing part in managing businesses and managing our processes. We don't do risk analysis, and we don't prepare enough for risk mitigation. I know in my financial study, we do a lot of this. All right. And project management, again, it's another vehicle, another tool that really helps you to get comfortable with risk assessment, risk analysis, risk mitigation. And I do believe that this is something that people should get savvy with. Peter, again, coming to you now. Um, Master planning in all of this is so important because your role, regardless of if you're looking at the personal life master plan, the family life master plan, the community life master plan, or the corporate life master plan, you're the one that really helps them to see the strengths and weaknesses in their planning. And your role is to really help them to, think ahead, think ahead, to see beyond some of the problems and to be able to take the right action. And sometimes taking the right actions to say, okay, you're in business, but you may run low on cash with that business because of these realities. But in the master plan has factoring, because factoring is one of the tools that businesses can now use to deal with foreseeable challenges. And guess what? Because you were able to foresee the challenge, you're able to move smoothly over that challenge and continue the business cash flow. So, your thoughts, Paul and Peter?
Go ahead, Peter.
You mute, Peter. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm thinking, as you mentioned, and where financial planning is concerned, cash flow is the life not just of business, but for family, for an individual. Cash flow, it's the oxygen for our economy. And one of the things that I usually love about what Paul says and Paul's uh, expertise is that there's a cost, and when we do when we help individuals to begin to design their personal life master plan, we have to get individuals to understand that there's a cost to life. And as they're making their plans, the number one thing that we want individuals to understand, that just for you to be sitting here to design this plan, there's a cost behind it, and somebody has to pay for it. We are sitting here and we are able to be communicating from three, four different areas across the globe, and there's a cost. Somebody has to make sure that they design this software that we're able to put it on our computer and we're able to communicate with each other. There's a cost for everything. There's a cost for life, and if we do not put those prepare to put those costs involved, then the whole program begin to shut down. Just as Paul says that when an individual going out into business, and if they are going to be paid at an X time, but now their operation between here to now falls short because the payment schedule is beyond the amount of cash flow that they have to operating, then that business is a struggling business. That's the way how people operate on a day by day business, day by day, where even their pay is concerned. How do we take this amount of finance that I have right now, paid weekly? By Wednesday, it is depleted, and we have a few more days left in the week. So having plans and then beginning to look now, okay, to say that this is what it is. How am I going to deal with it? What can I do to manage my way out of it? How can I begin to attract whatever is necessary? And what we do take individuals, and in your master planning, we are surprised that when you begin to put things out on the table, when you begin to just do that evaluation, we're surprised to see how we begin to understand the hidden gems, something that we didn't realize was right there. It has a financial process to it that now we can utilize this. We have a Ford short here, but then here is something that we didn't consider before. Master planning now gives us the ability to see everything, and now we're able now to make greater decisions and choices in how we can navigate our way forward. So in every way, as we look at the
I
dynamic.
I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, Peter. But something that I recognize, the average person is not able to independently develop their personal life master plan. They need expert like yourself. And let me say why. In terms of financial planning, there's a couple of things that we look at. Your income against your expenditure against your balance sheet. Now, when we put this together, what we see, you have a negative balance sheet at the end of every month. You just said it.
Mhm.
Before you reach the, midway in the month, you're out of cash. But guess what comes next? You have future plans.
Mhm.
You have future plans. But all your future plans, you can achieve it because you have a negative balance before you get to the end of the month.
Right.
You have options. The option to start looking at smart investment portfolios. And there's so much of those things. But you don't have the expertise like Shivani has. Shivani might say, okay, let's talk to Paul.
Mhm.
Paul is going to give us access to capital. Now let's look at a project, a cash flowing project.
Right.
And now let's manage that cash flowing project to augment or supplement the limited cash flow that you're getting to help you to better achieve your future plans. You see, one of the reasons we have all of these expertise around the table here today is to say to the public, regardless of where you're at, all right,
Please hold it.
talking to the right mentor, getting the right coach, getting into the right support community, they can help you to break barriers, all right? And breaking barriers is where you're going to definitely attain your competitive advantage. Again, I have to emphasize this. We are not here to show our good looks. We are not here to show our articulate ability. We are here to give information. You, all right, Peter.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say thanks. Yeah, yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Look at this
Okay.
view. Look at this view. Look at this view. Look at
Yeah.
this view. Look at this view right there. Look at that view.
I know Paul is saying the same thing. So it's straight against one. So you guys win, all right? The main objective I want to say, all right? You guys beat me up for this, is to ensure that we provide critical information to you so you can take action. It's not enough to have the information. You want to action the information that you're getting right now. And I would say this, our major role here is to ensure that you have the cutting edge in business and in life. Again, you don't have to come to us. But I'm saying to you, when you come to us, we're gonna pamper you. We're gonna ensure that you have the winning formula because we talk from knowledge and experience and we are practitioners in what we are doing. All right. So I really want you to get this. We are here to ensure that we are making our little bit of contribution to help you to get the competitive edge in business and in life. You don't have to come to us. I know Paul don't like hear me say you don't have to come to us.
I'm always, when I say that, I'm actually joking, but turn to
All right. But I'm saying to you, when you come to us, you're going to get the best quality of services and business are in your life. That's going to transform your life. Everything that you have been through, believe me, we have walked those paths. We know it by experience. We know it by practice. And we're going to ensure that you win in all aspects of your life. So the floor is now open. I'm going to start with Shivani to give me her insights, her closing remarks before we wrap up. Shivani, I must say you have been a major contributor to this platform. And I want to say you have been a major influence
Nice,
to
it's
Peter.
nice to see a beautiful face as well, more than looking at
You
me
hear?
face.
Thank you
Peter
very
said,
much. Thank you very
And
much.
Shivani, I tell you, for the past couple of weeks, I've been looking at these guys' face and I'm saying, oh my God. So you really have brought a difference. Bless your soul.
I
Thank
feel
you.
the same way.
Great.
Shivani, I didn't even have to say it. Shivani, let me
Yes,
tell you a
excellent.
story. I have never seen Peter and Paul smile so much.
Well, I'm
So
very
you have been
glad.
a great
Yes.
influence, right?
As I said, I didn't need the coffee this morning. I didn't need to drink any coffee. Right? I was going good. So, Larry,
Shivani, on to you. Yeah.
I'm just thinking in terms of project management, the importance of project in anything that we do. And projects is dynamic, as we continuously saying. It's never static. And once you, as a business owner, anyone who's in business, when you start to think that you know everything, that's where you have to. That is where you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail. Project management will give us the tools. It gives us the tools. It's a whole process, as you keep saying, from initiation to plan to execute to monitor and control and close. A lot of us, we get into the projects, but we have to ensure that the project is viable. Things that you mentioned, it must be viable. You must do a stress test. I love that word, to ensure that the project is going to make, because that's a lot of times that's what we have to do. And projects, you have so many different areas that you can focus on. It's different knowledge areas, we'll call it, in project management. And to grow into your business, you have to look at the project and see what particular knowledge area that you have and that you can grow in your in projects. There's a series of knowledge areas, we call them. So finance definitely is one. Human resource, you mentioned HR, your resources, your technical, and you need to know these areas. And this is what project management will teach you. Now, you are also mentioning the MVO, the most viable. And when you discuss projects, you have to be able to plan, right? You have to have strong planning skills. And we will really focus as we go through the conversation on two very important planning techniques. We can plan this project agile for business, or we could use the traditional waterfall. Two excellent planning techniques. Now you have to know what will work in what environment. And this is where the whole project management practitioner comes in, to understand, should I use agile? Should I use um, the predictive way of doing projects? I remember the first time I used agile, it was such a disaster because sometimes you just jump into these methodologies saying, "Oh yes, this will work," and you didn't analyze the thing properly, right? So that was about 10 years ago that when I first started to use the agile way. So you have to know your environment, you have to know culture. It's very important to understand culture, the environment to grow your projects and to see what will work. So project management, it's all about choosing the correct methodology to grow in your business, understanding culture, understanding environments, and project management, it's a hierarchy. You have program management and portfolio as well. These are terms that I'm hearing also coming out from this conversation. So there's so much to talk about: project management, program management, portfolio. And as we continue, we'll really share a lot more. I really got very happy this morning. I have a meeting at 9 o'clock, and I'm going into that meeting very, very, very happy. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. It's great to have you, Shivani. Paul, Peter, you're mute.
It is. It is. Master planning is it's a daily thing. It's not a one-time thing. It's a daily thing, and it's not going to happen uh, overnight, whatever it is. But we start with where we are. We understand where we're coming from. We understand where we want to go, and we begin to do whatever is necessary. But one question that I just want to throw to our listening audience that is very important, and if we keep this one question at the front of our mind at all times, it will be like that guiding light. Just one question, that one question, it will be your guiding light throughout your direction, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. And every now and again, it is important for us to go stand in the mirror. It's every now and again, as often as possible. If you keep on reminding yourself, just go stand in the mirror and ask, "Who are you?" Look at the person that is in the mirror and ask them the question, "Who are you?" And then you can stand by yourself, close your eyes, and ask the question, "Who am I?" And if you keep on asking that question over and over, there's two things that is going to happen. Number one, if you wait long enough, you're going to get an answer. You're going to get that refreshing. You will be inspired because who you are, the power of I am, the power of I am, the power of I am is so inspiring. And when you're able to grasp that measure of who am I, here's the second thing that is going to happen now. You're going to have synergy begin to take place. You step out and it just so happens that you meet somebody, or it just so happens that you're connected to a conversation. You hear something that you didn't know before. An idea comes, something happens, something that is just sometimes out of the blue. The miraculous take place. And it now begin to add pieces, begin to fall in place, and before you know it, you have that energy, as Shivani says. Last week this time I did not know that there was somebody by the name of Shivani, and here we are having this conversation this week, and she has brought such a beautiful dimension to our conversation. So that's what happens when we are now putting that master plan at work. It pulls people into your environment from everywhere. It's as if people are there waiting. The resources are there waiting. And once you ask the right question, life says, "Okay, let me give you the answer."
Right. Um, Peter, I want to emphasize this. You would find that Peter talks a lot about the soft skill, but what I've learned in life, if you haven't mastered the soft skill, you're not positioned to master life. because what Peter is saying to you, when you ask yourself who you are and you recognize that you're much more than you think you are, and you make that commitment to self-actualize, there is where the magic in your life start to take place. And the reality is, people, you can never grow beyond your sense of self. And Peter's role is to really ensure that you have that strong sense of self, that strong sense of purpose, and that strong sense of direction with your life. So when you come to manage your business, you're no longer thinking in a vacuum. You're no longer thinking small. You can expand your way of thinking because you understand your human, God given potential. And that's the significant role that Peter is playing here on this platform. Thanks for that share, Peter. Paul, all to you, the man that deals with all the money. You are approved.
You're approved. Right, exactly.
You're approved.
All right. I'm going to make it make sense. Sometimes I ramble, but I always try to make it come to a good point. And every massive project, every small project begins with a master plan, and you get a project manager. Either you're the project manager or you hire one. When you're a baby, your parents are your project managers. Really. And they develop you into being your own project manager. They're forming the master plan for your life. They're going to take you to the point to where you're able to do that, and then you form the rest of the master plan. Okay. Now, master plan envisions success, all the good things, the profit. It also envisions the pitfalls, the shortcomings, the potential disasters, and the project manager helps you to navigate to success. The project manager is the captain of the ship trying to take you to calm waters and the end result. So, how is it possible to build a large business, a skyscraper, or run a life? And you're running your life is every bit as important as the skyscraper. Probably, let's say it's more important. We all know that, right? Okay. Without having or acting as your own project manager or having a master plan, you cannot do it. Imagine a skyscraper with no clear plan or a leader. It's not just going to come together by itself. It's not. Everybody will be lazy. The workers will be not working. Stuff will be laying around. No safety precautions. It's going to be a disaster. Okay, all aspects of your life or a large and important project need to be organized and managed. And organized is different. It's a different word than managed. That's why they're two different words. So, you know, organizing it is putting your master plan together, and the project manager manages it. That's it. That's what I got to contribute.
Awesome. I love that you capture the essence of project management. One thing that we didn't go into deep today in terms of project management is what we call the timelining, because project timelining is so important because it tells you what has to be done. It breaks it down by the hour, by the minute, by the second, so you're able to do that evaluation. And that is also another tool in project management that I really love. So for the viewing public, I really trust that you had a lot to take away today on the competitive edge. A lot of what we talked about today, we you would either find books on the bestseller portal, or books are going to be uploaded very soon that covers these areas. And I have to talk with Shivani because I know that she has a lot of content on project management, and I will do some work with her to ensure that her content is also available on the bestseller portal. To get to the bestseller portal, you just need to go to the bestsellerportal.org, go to ebooks, and start to get yourself acquainted with our books. There's going to be a whole lot that is going to be coming soon from the bestseller portal. We're going to be hosting a number of business summits. One of the summits that we are looking at is the High Net Worth Investors Guide. The High Net Worth Investors Guide will really help you to understand how to prepare for success. and how to apply yourself after success, because sometimes you prepare, you spend too long in the preparation zone, but now you want to get to application zone. And once you start to get to application zone, you start to get results. So we'll now talk about managing those results. Shivani will also play a pivotal role in that. Paul will play a pivotal role. Peter will play a pivotal role. But then we're going to come to wealth expansion. All right. Because you want to expand every year, year after year, you want to expand in your business growth. You want to expand in your financial growth. Again, we're not just here for the talk and the good looks, right? So we got the good looks now. We are here to ensure that you have information that you can apply to your life and get tangible results. The next program that we will, next summits that we want to look at is mastering the sales communication process. Myself and Peter and Paul, we talk about this all the time. You have a business, you have a great value offer, but it's the greatest secret the world has ever known, because nobody knows about your value offer, because you do not know the art of mastering the sales communication. How do you break through the know, like, and trust? How do you command attention, pique interest, arouse desire, move the client into action, make impact, convert first-time users into lifetime customers, build confidence, trust, and credibility? These are all systems. They're tools, processes, and systems that if you want to give your business a chance to be successful, you owe it to yourself to take the time to learn these things. All right. We don't have the time to bring all of this here, but I want to encourage you, reach out to us, reach out to the network. I will put you in contact with Shivani. Listen to me. Everybody that you've seen on this platform, they have substance, as Peter say. I wouldn't bring them here unless they have the substance. So when we put you in contact with Shivani, we know that Shivani can fix your problem. All right. She's going to help to add value. She's going to help you to make more money because of her skill sets. When we put you in contact with Paul, Paul is going to fix your money problem, because he said we can get you approved. All right. So it's people that's going to fix the problem. We love the problem. I mean, Shivani say, professionals and project managers, they like managing chaos. Well, managers, all you do is fix problems. That's what you're paid for, fixing problems. And we love it. We swim in it. We love it. Peter is going to help you to get your master plan together so you can live more purpose-driven lives and you could achieve so much more. So I encourage you to reach out to us. All right. Send me a DM. I'll put you in contact with everybody. All right. With the network. In fact, once you make contact with me, you make contact with everybody. All right. And we're here with a solid commitment to give you that support to achieve your dreams and hopes and aspirations. With that, I want to say again, thanks to my team, Peter, Paul, and Shivani, project management expert. It's such a great pleasure to have each and every one of you here. And I know Shivani may not be here tomorrow, but you'll be here on Wednesday. But if you find the time, we do look forward to see you, if not Wednesday. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. You have been a powerhouse. A powerhouse.
Yeah.
All right. Enjoy the rest of the evening and the week ahead of you, my friends.
Bye bye. See you all.
Right.
Thanks, Gary,
All right.
Peter.